Welcome in everybody to the North Node in Astrology Masterclass. I have been sitting here over the past few days, just really sitting. I wrote an ebook as well for this North Node class that I'm doing right now. I just really wanted to give a different perspective and to let people know what, in my personal opinion, is the one thing that you have to know about your astrology, no matter what. So I'm just making sure that we're online and everything's moving so far. There was just a thunderstorm moments ago. So if it thunderstorms out in Los Angeles for whatever reason and it barely rains, I think there's a serendipitous part to all this. And I'm very excited to hop in and to explain one of my favorite parts and portions to astrology, which is, once more, the North Node. So, what is the North Node? As a matter of fact, how do we define destiny, right? When it comes to the concept of destiny in general, in my personal opinion, this is just what people are inclined to put their best foot forward towards in order to create the best versions of themselves. And so the reason why the destiny of astrology is so interesting is because this is the energy that you're essentially assigned with bringing into the world. This is the energy signature. Keep in mind, energy signature that you're pushing out that makes you a better you, that actually at the end of the day is going to make you the best version of yourself. And in my personal opinion, it's not until you start to slowly follow your North Node that the universe opens up magic to you in a specific way. I don't think that until you start leaning into that North Node lesson and that energy that you really get to find the fullness of your purpose per se. Now, when it comes to the North Node, a lot of people might think immediately and be like, oh, shoot, the South Node, right? And so just to give you a perspective when it comes to these nodes is that these nodes of destiny are on an axis. As a matter of fact, it's when a full moon or a new moon lands on where the nodes are at that we have what's known as an eclipse. And we're about to enter eclipse season in just about a month from now. So I just wanted to let you all know. I'll be writing about it exclusively and fully on my newsletter. Most likely I'll be doing a video on them as well. But the main thing that I wanted to put across is that I do have this North Node ebook that I wrote. All the information I'm giving to you today is off the top of my head. Like this is just what's been on my heart for the last few days, and I wanted to express it differently. The written version is going to be different. It's worded differently to make sure everyone understands what's going on. And mind you, if you don't know much about astrology, if you only know your sun, moon, and rising, literally just you mastering the energy signature of your North Node and knowing the lessons of your South Node is going to propel you forward so much. So I want just everybody to check in if you right here, right now, if you're watching this later on, or if you're in a live chat, make sure that you comment down your North Node. The more of the North Nodes that I see, the harder I get to go about them when I start to describe them. I remember everyone who's in here. So yeah, let's get into the main core of this. And thank you all for showing up to this masterclass. And I hope that you enjoy, get something out of it, get some entertainment, learn some things, and watch me be pretty for fun. All right, let's get it. So, where's the North Node right now? How about we use that? Where's the North Node? What in the world is going on with the North Node? Well, the North Node has been in Aries. As a matter of fact, it has been in Aries since July 23rd of 2023. Why do I remember this day so specifically? Like why? Well, one, I'm an astrologer. Two, I'm a nerd. But three, it was actually when the North Node went into Aries was the first time that I had gone viral with something that had my face in it. As a matter of fact, when the North Node went into Aries and that thing went viral, it was literally the worst image of quality that I probably could have gotten. It was on my phone. I was in a place with terrible lighting. And mind you, I'm an artist by nature. So it just hurt my soul. And I was like, you want to know what? Screw this. I remember trying to get I was in a studio and I was trying to get the microphone to work and all the things were just messed up and there was weird studio time and I was just fed up and I was frustrated. And I said, you want to know what? Screw this. I said, I'm going to spit my truth. I'm going to break this down And I'm just going to make sure that this is out there, right? Now, keep in mind that Aries principle. Follow me. And there's a reason why I'm mentioning it this way. So the North Node in the Aries, and I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, screw this. I'm just going to let y'all know. And I was like, July 23rd, we had blah, blah, blah. So that was the first thing that I ever posted with my face in it that went viral. There was a long time where, like, for one reason or another, I know sometimes the algorithms were a little bit biased at a certain time frame. But I think just one of those situations that happened where I finally reached just different people than I ever had. And from that point to now, I've been able to amass so many wonderful people to just come into my sphere, or for us to cross paths, including you right now watching this. And I just wanted to kind of point this out because whenever I do something in an astrology basis, I do my best to also kind of give you a living example of it, because I would feel remiss to not be following the things that I'm trying to also help people on or explain to other people. So thank y'all for always, being so open to hearing about this journey and this process. And I'm glad that this sometimes really does help y'all understand a little bit better. But speaking of, with that being said, the North Node in Aries was all about the humanity, society, the collective, figuring out what their identity is. And that's why in the last, let's say, since the middle of 2023, there's been so many quote unquote identity politics that are being played as far as like who people are, where people stand, what they choose to represent. And also there's been this really interesting dichotomy between people who are like really aiming to do something specific with their lives and stepping up to the plate. And there are other people who have, on the other end of things, been falling into the rabble of, let's say, what pop culture is, or let's say what other people are trying to have everyone do, right? Now, that's the South Node in Libra. So mind you, the North Node looks like a upside down horseshoe, right? Looks like a little omega symbol, right? And the South Node looks like the actual horseshoe. So where's the South Node right now? Well, the South Node is always going to be opposite the North Node no matter what. Now, you might look at a chart and it doesn't show you the South Node. If you know where the North Node is, it is always directly opposite at the same number, at the same time frame. So I just wanted to let you know that it is always at a complete 180 of one another, right? So the South Node is a past life. And not just a past life, it represents older destiny, older experiences, hidden skills, traits, talents that we come into the world as. And not just that, but the way that this is impacting everyone is that there's been a specific nostalgic quality behind the way that relationships used to be. And we have been seeing this throughout the collective for a long time, specifically in the last year, where the streets is crazy, as the people of the streets would say. But no, genuinely speaking, like it's like the relationship construct. That's why we've been seeing so many people coming out of the woodworks, explaining to them how they think relationships work. And I promise you, if you go on TikTok, you're going to find the worst relationship advice of all time. But ironically, there's going to be times where you go on that TikTok and you find the best of relationship advice of all time. And that's a dichotomy that we're in, is that everyone is kind of finding their own, but you can't seep too hard into somebody else's truth in order for you to get lost in that sauce, right? The South Node in Libra, if you look at any podcast, whether it be a super mega male alpha podcast, men, or you get to one of the girlies podcasts where it's like, I need the relationship to be 90-10, whatever it is. These are both terrible examples of most of the time how to approach relationship or one another. However, people in that North Node in Aries need to figure out how to discern what's best for them. We're moving into the age of Aquarius. Not a lot of traditional marriages and relationships are going to last the test of time. You're going to have to either be so linked on a soul level, that person either needs to be fully and solely like your friend and your lover, or there's been a lot of people who are going to be shifting into more so like a polyamorous thing. Or maybe they are going to get married, but they're going to do something that's a little bit off kilter. Oh, shoot, we're not wearing dresses to the wedding. We're wearing this. It's like, what? This is the type of stage that we're stepping into. And the nodes, this destiny shift is happening. It's starting to like move the way that the collective views these things, right? I haven't seen this show. I have not seen this show yet. I think it would be very heart-wrenching, and I'm not ready for it, to be honest with you. But there's a show that I believe is on Netflix right now. It's called Love is Blind. And I've heard a handful about it, and I've seen enough clips. Let me know in the comments if you've seen it at all. But it's just like people, if I'm not mistaken, are getting married off to one another. But then as they're getting married off to one another, people's real personalities are starting to come out, right? So the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra is like a big love reality TV show that the collective is playing right now, where it's like, how do I love myself? How do I be the best of myself? Or it's like, oh man, maybe I just want a partner. Like, so this is the type of dichotomy that's happening. And why am I explaining all this before I get into the science? Because when we get into that lunar eclipse coming up towards the end of March, when spring starts, off the top of my head, I think it's like 25th, my fault. There's a lot of dates in my head right now. And then the solar eclipse is going to be on April 8th. And that's going to be in Aries. So what's happening with this and why am I explaining this? The lunar eclipse is when there's a release, right? So that south node is going to be on a full moon. A full moon is typically releasing whatever's going on, right? Stop watching a few seasons ago, started to get weird. But that's like a huge understanding where it's like it started to get weird. And then at that starting to get weird is that North Node and South Node of Libra. Beforehand, it was probably more wholesome. It was North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. Then it got weird. That's that nodal shift. So I hope that gives a good context. And it's not just in that show. It's in a lot of different places. To get back to what I was saying, when it comes to the lunar eclipse, the lunar eclipse is a full moon, essentially on steroids. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the releases that the lunar eclipse happens is that you're letting go to relationship structures that you may not even have understood were relationship structures. Or better yet, you're letting go of the fear behind being in a relationship structure. So if you're someone who might typically run away from relationship, or, oh my God, I can't be vulnerable with them, or what would they think of me about this? The lunar eclipse might put you in a scenario because destiny takes the reins. The North Node is taking the reins. The South Node is taking the reins. And you might literally bump into your soulmate. And as soon as you bump into your soulmate, you might be like, oh my God, I'm not ready yet. And that's why the North Node is so important to tap into, because when you step towards your North Node, you don't have to get ready. You are ready. And that's for anything. And that's why I think the North Node is so important for me to explain, because the North Node literally is your key to your consciousness. It's the key to your enlightenment. It's the key to your power as you lean into it. So mind you, the South Node still contains all your gifts. It contains all of your powers, your hidden gifts from a past life, a past incarnation. I know a lot of people in this world right now, and I don't talk about this too much, but I know a lot of people are starseeds. I know a lot of people are crystal children. I think a lot of people that have or have been diagnosed with attention deficit and etc., they just have a soul of a different origin. The neurodivergence is because it's literally a different way of thinking. You're from a different spot. Duh. But that aside, one of the ideas when it comes to this, right, is your South Node is your, like, the best skill that you've had. So the way I like to explain the South Node, especially when I do people's readings, and if you ever wanted a reading or you wanted to know the full depths of your chart, please make sure that you check down below to get a reading with me. I'm the best at what I do for what I do. You feel me? So if you want to pull through, get all the information, you get a recording. I got really better at sending the recordings. We're doing it. We're getting better. For those of you who don't know, this has always been a grassroots thing. I started this channel off 5 years ago in the room I grew up in with a little broken microphone, doing everything else. So like since then, I've been able to have such a beautiful journey in meet you all along the way. So if y'all do ever come across this, or you know someone who's into astrology and wants to know more, make sure that they come through to the boy. We got memes, we got beauty, we got art, we got all types of stuff. But for real, it's a blessing to do this, and I'm gonna continue. But like, even in this, me saying this right now, it's that North Node in Aries. And why am I saying it like this? The North Node in Aries is also on Chiron. So I know a couple of y'all have been watching my classes, and salute to you. For those of you who might be watching this the first time, I dropped a Chiron Masterclass and a Lilith Masterclass. These are my two additional favorite aspects of astrology outside of the North Node. And the Chiron aspect with the North Node right now is forcing the collective to heal the innermost of their ego. And people are hating it. It's not fun. It's not a fun time. It's not a fun time. That's why a lot of people have been like experiencing such a tension. And they're like, yo, like, what is this tension? Is it me that's feeling this way? Why is everyone feeling more aggressive? Are people doubting my ability? That's not necessarily the case, but there is a healing factor that's going on right now to the destiny of the collective, which is doing what? Making people tap into their soul, making people figure out what their healing modality is. I know I talk a lot about human design, and I'm like, it's diet astrology, because it is. But on this flip note, the reason why I like to explain it like that, or like I talk about that and I poke at it, very North Node in Aries, because it's like, let's poke at the idea of this the same way that they poke back at this. And I think that honestly opens up the conversation, because like, I definitely think there are things in human design and in every other system that are useful, but it's funny to just like use the thing being like, yo, like astrology was the first one. And so even in that challenging of that, and in me sticking to the fact that I think that part, we now open up conversation to make a better relationship. And guess what we're doing in that process? We're utilizing the gift of that South Node in Libra, of collaboration, of further understanding, of seeing the beauty of both sides of things. And that's why I think during this nodal shift, it's so important for you to know your astrology, know thyself, and really just believe in the magic that you can make in your world. And that's my job, to help y'all do that. And I'm amazed to have reached a point to where I'm doing this every day of my life. But we keep it moving. And that's just my overall take on the North Node thus far. I want to just make sure I check down on the comments. If you're watching this later on, make sure you hit the like below, leave a comment if you like. And yeah, let me just read these real quick. All right, so we got a North Node in Aquarius. What's up? How you doing? Hey, we got the people in here. Returning over my North Node in Aries. Inspired action is a fact. We're going to get to that in a little bit. I'm going to break down all the signs with this North Node as well. Just really realizing I did this while there was a thunderstorm in Southern California, which is just a wild concept. But moving forward, we got a couple North Nodes in Aquarius. Okay, I talked to someone who else said that earlier today. You have South Node in Scorpio. Feel the same about people in your life. Finding it, okay. You keep running into Libra risings. I love this. And the reason why I love these, first of all, the camaraderie here is because we get to just see in real life how astrology plays out. Because it's not just happening to me. It's not just happening to you. It's happening to everybody. But some people can see where those connections are. And some people still see it, but they don't know why. So, I love you, Maverick, but astrology is just one part of the whole human design. I know, but guess what? Now I just inspired you to make your own take on it. I know what it actually is, but this is my job as your Aries rising astrologer to challenge people's ideas to make them step further into their own. Because maybe you tell me something that I don't know. I am well studied, but I might not know the whole thing. Yes, I do know that there's layers. Yes, I do understand, but it's fun for me to do. That's the type of once more, that North Node in Aries, because now it's like boom. You see what I'm saying? That's kind of just what I wanted to get at, and I wanted to show you a real time example. And like I said, it's always fun. You feel me? I respect your opinion. That's why it's fun to go back and forth. But that's the idea, is that when you respect your identity, North Node in Aries, someone else respects their identity, North Node in Aries, and then y'all link up, then you can start to formulate better partnership, better relationship, better friendship. This is the concept, right? So now that we've seen how the North Node and South Node are able to kind of dance and parlay with one another, let's start to dive into a little more info. Then we'll get to the signs because I know everyone's just waiting for their sign. I'm the same way. I completely understand. So, hey, you're late, but you made it. Let's go. We out here. Nice sweater. Thank you. You know, turtleneck vibes one time. I'm just happy I got my lighting right. It makes me so happy. I've been working so hard. I hope y'all have been understanding and seeing that I have been building my aesthetic for like a year straight. It's been really annoying, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So shout out. Better ingredients, better pizza. You're darn right. Anyway, all right. Let me get back into it. So one thing about the North Node, and the easiest way to explain it, is that the North Node is like a mathematical point. It's not an actual specific thing in the sky. It has to do with the shadow of the moon, right? And where the moon is reflecting. I wrote it down specifically in my ebook that I wrote, but I don't want to get too jargony and lose y'all in the process. So I'm just going to let you know that. Plus, the North Node usually goes on a rotation of about 1.5 years. So every 1.5 years, the North Node changes. Another thing about the North Node and the South Node is that the North Node and South Node go backwards in sign. As a matter of fact, they are always going backwards. The easiest way to think about this is that the North Node is pretty much always, not specifically always, but pretty much always retrograde because it's always going back. So right now, the North Node's in Aries. Come January of next year, the North Node is going to go into 29 degrees of Pisces. So for y'all who are following, just know that the North Node is going backwards. You want to know what else goes backwards? The astrological ages. I know that's a little bit more advanced for some of y'all, but I want to make sure we keep everyone locked in, right? When it does come to this, just know the North Node shifts the destiny and perspective of the entire collective. And it takes there's an 18.6 year cycle for it to go from the North Node in Aries to the North Node in Aries again. So I just want to let y'all know, right? Working hard and we see it. I've been doing this, yo. I said we going all in and we went all in and it's been scary. It's been like beautiful and it's been like so beautifully stressful. But I think that's part of following your dreams. And so like to be able to follow your dreams and to help me inspire other people to do so, just by doing the spiritual work and being creative. Come on, y'all. Like this is a blessing. Like don't get me started. I get really sentimental with y'all. I'm not gonna lie. So I just want to keep going and not mess it up, right? So back to it, because y'all like to distract me. Stop flattering me. You know I like it. I'm a North Node in Libra. Stop playing me. You feel me? Anyway, so moving forward though, for real. Getting into this North Node aspect, let's break this North Node down by element first. So I'm going to go through the 4 elements, explain each little bit of that, and then we'll circle back again and go in order. So everyone gets a little scratch of that. What's my North Node itch that we all have, right? So let's start off with the North Node in fire. If you have the North Node in any of these 3 signs, right? In Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, just know that your destiny is surrounding action, taking action, discovering yourself, seeing your identity, having a healthy relationship to your ego, really making sure that other people feel like they can shine when it's time for them to shine, but not being afraid to take the show if there's nobody who's willing to take the show. The North Node in fire wants to lean back on other people, but every time you lean back too far on other people, you might get yourself lost in the crowd. And when you get yourself lost in the crowd, sometimes that North Node portion is like, man, I should have stepped up and done this. Man, I should have been the team captain for this. And there's this certain type of competitiveness and push forward energy that you need to let yourself tap more into. So the idea of having a North Node in fire is that your whole notion is making sure that you can stand in your own identity on your own 2 feet and stick up for what you believe in, even if the crowd doesn't believe in it. So just want to keep that in mind. That's going to be for the North Node in fire so far, right? So North Node in Earth. If you have a North Node in the Earth sign, that's Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, right? If you have a North Node in Earth, you're going to know that patience is a virtue and you move like nature moves. How am I explaining this? Because when something grows like a plant, or I'll use a plant, right? Because I have a couple plants. And so sometimes you're watering the plant and next thing you know, you'll just notice out of nowhere, it's like, is that a new part of it budding? Is this plant growing into something else? Is it actively transforming and changing its state? But it's like, I wasn't really forcing it. I wasn't rushing it, but now this plant's growing. Now this plant is feeling exuberant. And I'm using this also as an analogy because like the North Node of Earth is like whatever you put yourself forward to, it's a slow grind, but it will happen, right? So the idea behind having a Earth North Node is that in a past time frame, you were probably a little too emotional. You're a little too emotional. Maybe you didn't have, or I don't want to say too emotional, but you could have also been caught in the spiritual too much. So you could have been too emotional. You could have been too intuitive to where you weren't able to like act on it. You might have been too caught in your feelings to make a change about certain things. And so when it comes to this North Node in Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Earth, right? Your destiny is to slowly push forward towards stability, towards practicality. You might be a little bit more of a penny pincher, but it's not to be a penny pincher to be petty or to like not have someone have something. It's because you're consistently growing something, you're building something, right? The idea behind having a North Node in Earth is that slow and steady truly does win the race. And so for people that rush their North Nodes in Earth, first of all, you shouldn't rush your North Node, period. When you do that when it's in when Earth, you might start making some emotional decisions. Leaning too hard on that South Node, emotional decisions. And then you're like, oh man, if only I didn't get scared when they asked me if I wanted to sell the company or not, right? For people who are nerds like me, literally Nikon just bought Red, and for camera people, they're having a big conniption right now. And the reason why it's so interesting is because it's like they tried to sue them, they got too emotional, and then the bigger thing with that Earth energy said, look, we're just going to acquire you, we're just going to buy the whole thing. So like this is the kind of concept and similar vibe that I wanted to kind of put to that North Node in Earth. It's like you keep moving on, you keep making that happen, and then things start to work in your favor. But it's not to stop, it's just about taking things slow as you go, right? Okay. And for anybody who wants to like get the full scoop, I do have that North Node ebook. All the proceeds of that are going directly back into the content. To be honest with you, like I want to get this microphone so I can start doing some more outside stuff. I have a lot of plans to start to collaborate more with people in LA. I'm doing more photo shoots. I'm doing more video, cinema stuff, everything else that's coming along with that. And I want to just bring y'all better looking stuff, doper content. That's why I've been steering towards YouTube and leaning away a little bit more from just focusing on social media. I want to make sure that this is a great environment for everyone who wants to pop in, whether that be newsletter, just talking to me on social, or like, you know, the people I have met, right? Beautiful, lovely people. So it's like, you know, let's get this popping. You feel me? Anyway, speaking of that, let's get to the North Node in Air. Because you were just, you watch me do my North Node in Air all the time. And or at least I try to lean into it as much as I can. So let's get into North Node in Air. If you have North Node in Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, when it comes to your communication style, speaking of, I just started with this communication style. Your destiny is about communication. Your destiny is about bringing information to the table. It's about how are you sharing information. It's about who's sharing information with you. Are you willing to listen to a little bit of everybody? Are you only listening to a certain set amount of people? This is the dichotomy that kind of comes in when it comes to having a North Node in an air sign, right? Now, what is it about North Node in the air that they have to go for? What are they destined towards? A North Node, In air, you are destined for relationships. You are supposed to have a bunch of relationships. You're supposed to have a bunch of friendships. You're supposed to date a lot of people. Like literally as a North Node in air, you're supposed to learn about people through just communicating, through literally dating them, trying to go half and half sometimes. Like the concept of this is like, the more that you can delve yourself into a diverse group of people, the more intelligible that you get, and the easier you're able to convey tougher messages to people who may not understand them, or maybe looking for someone with a pretty face and a charming attitude to come in and tell them the same things that they may already know, right? So if you have the North Node in air, your South Node is giving you this sense of like, I can do everything by myself. If you have your South Node in fire, which is the opposite of that, you're like, I can do whatever I want by myself. Like, I don't need nobody. I don't need to deal with nothing. Like, I'm gonna get it off from the ground. Screw y'all. It's me against the world. It's me against my passion. It's me against this. And that can be good to utilize, but that can also ostracize you from the world that's around you. And so if you get too ostracized as a North Node in air, you're going to start to like really feel that disconnect when realistically you're supposed to be connected to the people. The reason why I talked about my North Node in that regard is because using my North Node like this, like me doing astrology is me using my North Node, because I was like, yo, I know all this stuff about astrology, but would I rather meet people for one-on-one consultations? Would I rather give a larger group of people information and let them deal with that, find if they have a relationship to me, see if we're connected through soul, see if they just think I'm pretty and I think they pretty, because like pretty people, you feel me? I see you over there, you know what I'm saying? I see you. Anyway, but the idea, right, is but you see that even there, that's the prime example of that North Node in air. So the more that you lean on that North Node, the more that you're going to be communicated, the more people are going to find you charming, the more people are going to flock to you in that regard. And it's your responsibility to give them the trueness of yourself, because that's what really pushes conversation forward, because it's not forced, it's genuine. So that's a little bit of vibe on that North Node in air. So for the last element of the North Node, we have the North Node in water. And I'm going to slow it down for a second, right? Having a North Node in either Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, y'all are supposed to love so stupidly intensely. And the reason why I'm saying it like this is because there's this sense of just feeling that allows the oceans to ripple. It makes the rivers go over the rocks a certain way. It makes the rain splash down. There's this certain type of concept when it gets to that North Node and water energy, to where you're really trying to find out the next portion of spiritual prowess. You're trying to find that deeper connection. If y'all will. But the idea when it comes to this North Node and water specifically is like you're getting to the bottom of why people feel the way they do. And with that being said, your destiny is to help meet people on a soul level, help facilitate that. I'm a real lover. I peep game. You get what I'm saying? Because the idea when it gets to that water energy is that it's like you just want people to feel the feelings. You want to almost extend your love in a way to where someone can like literally feel like they're being in this like water wrapped bubble, just closing their eyes and holding it and having their forehead flash like they're ang and just getting stuck in the iceberg of their love. Yeah, I know every North Node in water right there just got a little happy from that. I know y'all like, oh, I want to love everything just so much. And here's the concept. Y'all are going to do that, right? Y'all are really going to do that. And the reason why I'm even explaining it that way is because it's like the love and the energy and the purity of that intention is what actually makes that transformative experience. It makes a healing experience. For those who have North Node in water, you are healers by nature or healers by trade, but it's up to how you decide to go with it. This is up to how you decide to transmute those feelings. So that's something to kind of point out with that. And for the people that have that North Node in water, that means your past life, you have your South Node in earth. With that being said, you in your past life could have been so rigid. Every time I think about like a south node of Earth, it's just like that one super rich person that you can't get anything out of. You're like, hey guy, how's your day? He's like, it's a day. Yeah, man, what are you doing later, man? Yeah, you know, you're so cool. I'm going to the buffet. Oh, what'd you get at the buffet? I love the buffet. What's at the buffet? Food. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain type of like crude, hard to reach kind of energy from that past life. But that gave y'all a really good understanding of like what manifestation is like. The problem is though, with North Node of Water, is that y'all know how to manifest, but y'all can manifest your bad emotions too if you're not careful of how you actually feeling or addressing in how you actually feel. So sometimes if you're too caught up in that North Node of Water and you're like, oh, I'm just going to love everything. Now you're loving all the wrong people. Now they're going the wrong way. Now you're feeling bad. Now you're like, why am I feeling this way? Like, oh my God. And now you're leaning back on being stingy and you're like, no one can take my energy anymore. I hate everybody. Do you see the spiral there? That's the reason why I wanted to point out with that North Node of Water, where it's like you have so much potentiality to heal, but you need to make sure that your cup is purified first, and then the rest comes in as it does. Okay, cool. So, I ended the video. Bye. No playing. But that has so far been the breakdown of the North Node through the elements. Just a little bit of vibe, just a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. You know what I'm saying? So, I just wanted to kind of give you that context to show you where that goes. And I explain each sign and house in my ebook, which is also available. And it's something to just have on you. It's just a nice way to look at that. And the way that I actually set up all the North Nodes is that it low-key just works as the astrological archetype too. So you can kind of plug and place any planet or any sign as long as you just like be like, hey, this is this. And in the description, this is low-key some sauce for y'all, but you know, if you know, you feel me? Anyway, so we explained a little bit about the North Node, how it works, destiny. We explained how eclipses work. We explained a lot of random things so far. How's everybody feeling so far? Just make sure that y'all type that down in the comments. I'm going to refresh my page just so I can see where everybody's at. And once more, if you are watching this now and you ain't checked this yet, make sure that you leave a like. Make sure that you end up showing some love in this process. It's a very fun time, very fun time. So the more likes I get on this, the more likelihood I could do another free masterclass. I ideally want to do all of these for free if I can. But, you know, we out here. Things be happening. You go over to South Node. I'm going to do that later on. So when I explain the North Nodes, I'm going to talk about each South Node. Good luck. I appreciate that. Okay. So now that we're here. Okay, let's go. It was late. Now you good. You good. We're about to get into each sign specifically. I'm rolling my sleeves one time. You know what I'm saying? About to lose my jacket. Hit a solo. All right, let's get it. So let's start off in order now for each North Node. So I'm going to explain each North Node and South Node pairing. So how about we start with the North Node in Aries, right? It's cliche, but I'm going to go for it. Screw it. So the North Node in Aries. If you have a North Node in Aries, your destiny is to be yourself. And that sounds weird. It's like, well, of course I'm supposed to be myself. No, duh. It's like, yeah, but you're supposed to be yourself in a way where like you're always ever changing. You're always challenging the last thought you have. You're always pushing forward to the next idea. You're not just staying the same. There's a multiplicity to the hustle and bustle that you're supposed to do in finding and discovering yourself. I told y'all I'm gonna go off. Man, I wasn't playing with y'all. I took 3 days to think about this. It's about to get real. You already know. So when it gets to the idea of the North Node in Aries, for real, is like your destiny is to bring fire and will into the world. Like you're supposed to inspire people by just being a wrecking ball of whatever it is that you have to do. And so the North Node in Aries, I just watched this Vince Staples show last night. Hilarious. Please watch it. It's on Netflix. Anyway, when it comes to specifically the North Node in Aries, there's this part, and I'm not spoiling much, but his mom is at a cookout, And she was mad about the principle because somebody else both made a mac and cheese. And if you black, or if you know anybody black, just let you know, mac and cheese is a delicacy. You don't mess with it at the cookout. Usually only one person can bring it because it's that good type deal. And so the North Northern Aries is like, I brought my mac and cheese. It's the best mac and cheese. Why y'all playing with me? Right? And the reason why I was like that is because you might be like, yo, that's a mac and cheese. Meanwhile, the person that made it is like, I put everything into this. You know what I mean? And that's the North Northern Aries, is that their passion goes into that portion. Now, mind you, I know it's a silly example, but that's what y'all here for. And on the other note, right, the South Node in Libra, though, the reason why the North Node, it might be hard to get into, and it might even be hard to step into that like fire for you, because the North Node isn't something that's easy. The North Node is something that is difficult, but the more you lean into it, the easier it gets, and the more you lean into it, the better benefit you get in your world. So Banksy is perfect, bro. 100%. We'll talk about it later. But with the South Node, right? The South Node in Libra, that means in your past life, you leaned entirely too hard on somebody else's opinion. I think a lot of people that have South Node in Libra, they were in a marriage where they didn't have a voice, or they were in like some type of cahoots to where maybe they were like the shadow of someone, or they were like, oh, we're supposed to both be great, but like they never let you reach a certain point or reach a certain status. And so this lifetime is a flip reversal of like, yo, like I spent my whole past dealing with this and making sure everything that in my love life was perfect, and yet I felt like I never found out who I was in that regard. Now that's why the North Node in Aries gets to that importance, and that South Node in Libra happens, is because you're teeter-tottering the axis of who am I and who am I to everybody else. Definitely here for these silly examples. Good, because that's all I got for y'all. I got silly examples, I got memes, and a pretty face. I'm telling you, that's all I got. And esoteric astrological wisdom wrapped in a package to everyone to understand. But I digress. Anyway, but that idea alone. But then again, even that's a North Node of Aries thing. You see how I just claimed that? And I do these things on purpose because I want to show y'all like this is the language of these North Nodes. This is the language of what's happening. So I'm just glad that this is popping through. And just know that this is the axis that's also happening for these eclipses coming up. So keep in mind all the things that I just said, because that might be popping up for the whole collective, but especially if you have it in your chart. Okay, cool. Now, let's get to the next one, right? So we're going to go North Node in Taurus. And mind you, if you have the opposite, listen to those two. If you have the opposite of that, listen to both, because I'm giving y'all gems on both sides, but I want to make sure the North Node is prioritized, hence the name of this masterclass. So, North Node in Taurus. We have someone who is literally going to make mad money in their life, but most specifically when they're older. And I think that's a part that I hate telling the North Node and Taurus people, because the North Node and Taurus people are like, I have all my stuff together and I did all my portfolio and I did everything. I'm like, it's just not happening yet. And it's like, oh man, like our generation has such a skewed perception on age. At least mine and Pluto, Sag, Gen Z to millennial. We have such a poor representation of like what age really is. And I'm grateful to have known people who are older and to work with someone who's older to give me some perspective, because like all this internet stuff is new, right? North Node of Taurus is like, yo, I'm a hustle this out of the same, let's say, like, you got to think like years ago, I'm thinking about New York, like the people in bodegas. There's some bodegas that are in a local area that they make hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars every year. Let me stop. Let me not get ghetto. But the idea is like they make a bunch of money all the time. And then you'll look at what's really happening and they never changed the sign. They never like made anything else a little too fancy. They made sure that they were established so much as what they were that things just grew upon their own, right? And so the North Node of Taurus, you have to think like you're setting up shop. You're setting up shop not just for like one day. You're setting up shop for like the rest of your life. Like as a North Node in Taurus, I don't think that you should take a litmus test of anything underneath 5 years. Like I'm so serious. Like I think like if you have a North Node in Taurus, if you think of things in 5-year increments, you're him, you're her, you're they. Like you are literally like the you have become exactly what you aimed out to be. But the North Node in Taurus takes time, right? It's not a Jack and the Beanstalk story. The North Node in Taurus says that I'm going to grind this out. I'm going to do this little part here. I'm going to put in a little energy here. And then these things start to come together and boom, now I'm at the top of the mountain. Who would have thought? That's kind of the concept when it comes to that North Node in Taurus. Now, mind you, if you have a North Node in Taurus, that means you have a South Node in Scorpio. And I'm going to let you know right now, as a North Node in Taurus and a South Node in Scorpio, you had some older underworld dwellings. I don't know what the F y'all did, respectfully, but y'all did something, and y'all know y'all did something, because every person that got South Node in Scorpio come into the world feeling a little guilty. And I can't tell you why, but that original sin go hard for y'all. Y'all be like, I just feel like... like and I'm laughing just because like I understand like how dense it is, because it's like the South Node in Scorpio, you had to do something in the realm of the dark, whether that be, let's say, sex work, or you were in some bad dwindlings with derelicts and degens. And the concept of this is that you're getting and transmuting that rawness of that emotion, that rawness of the dark, and you're actually using it now to build material gain. And that's the reason why, for example, a lot of people are like, yo, billionaires, if you're a billionaire, that means you can't have been a good person. You had to do something underneath there. The North Node of Taurus is trying to show you how to make that billionaire status without stomping on everybody to do so, but by using the intensity of that passion to push forward that slow grind. You feel what I'm saying? Sons and daughters of Adam and Eve, for real. That part, bro. But you get what I'm saying? Like that concept when it gets to this North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, that's the dichotomy that's really happening. It's that the North Node in Taurus is going to grow, but it needs to rely and step into its intensity and emotional fervor in order to actually get things going to a pace that it wants to. I hope that has related. I hope somebody got a little something out of that. Keep in mind, listen to the opposite one too when we get there. But let's keep it rocking. Okay. North Node in Gemini. Let me stop. But let's get to the North Node in Gemini. I call it the microwave age. I love it. I bet. But let's get to the North Node in Gemini, right? Y'all know I'll get distracted if I don't keep it up. So the North Node in Gemini, speaking of distracted, the North Node in Gemini, y'all are scatterbrained. And the reason why y'all are scatterbrained is because that's low-key where your genius comes from. And I want to let you know right now that I see you. Because a North Node in Gemini might be like, oh my God, I have 10 projects at the same time. I'm so messy. I just did all of these different things at once, and like I only did a little bit of all of that. You have to understand, as a North Node in Gemini, your destiny is low-key kind of tied to like multitasking. You said I sing good. I was BSing, so I appreciate you. That was when I actually sing, I could sing, but it's been a minute. Anyway, but getting into the next part. But having a North Node in Gemini specifically, you're getting to this different space and place of making sure that your voice can be heard. Because in a past life, with that Sagittarius South Node, I think in a past life, you understood all the philosophy, right? I honestly, there's a big archetype that I see with this, to where it's like the monk, right? So in a past life, maybe you were out in like a monastery, and I'm using this as a big overall vibe, but just to get you the energy signature. In a past life, you could have been a monk. And you were like, I'm going to learn about the deepest portions of this. I'm going to learn about the truths behind the world. I'm going to see the visions of all the other things. And in the North Node of Gemini, I was like, oh, shoot. But like at the time, I can't talk, though. You're like, I just learned about all the secrets of the world, but I can't tell nobody. And so this year, and then not this year, wow, but also this year, and the year is on forward. As a North Node of Gemini, you're here to be yapping. Like, you're supposed to talk. You're supposed to like spill the beans. You're supposed to like be honest about the things that are going on, even if they're ever changing, right? Because there is a certain sense of the rumor mill or the gossip thing or ideal trends. And there's a bit or a glimmer of truth in all of those things in that process. And the North Node in Gemini understands that. So the North Node in Gemini, you're going to know the tabloids. You're going to know the topics. You're going to know the little in-betweens, the ins and outs. But your job is to expose the truth on those things. So if you have a North Node in Gemini, you're supposed to bring the truth into the world. You're supposed to like say that thing a lot of the times that everyone's thinking, right? And although people might not understand it at the time, you got to keep it rolling. When we think about a Gemini, first person I think of is Kanye West. No matter how you think about that, that is a Gemini menace. Like he's really in his essence of Gemini, because what does he do at the end of the day? No matter what he does or pulls off, he makes everyone talk about it. No matter what, people have to talk about it, right? I had a coworker who I believe was a North Node in Gemini. She had 2 jobs in grad school going on at the same time and was finessing full salary out of both jobs. That's what I'm saying. I appreciate that example, because a North Node in Gemini be like, that's your skill, right? And because of that South Node in Sag, you get to just pull in on like everything, your information, like like you could just, I know everything. Like, good for y'all. It's ridiculous, but good for y'all. So that's pretty much the vibe that I'm getting when it comes to having like that North Node in Gemini and that South Node in Sagittarius, right? Okay. Now we get into the North Node in Cancer. And so when you have a North Node in Cancer, I need you to know the card in the tarot of the High Priestess. And I always think of the High Priestess when I think of like that specific Cancerian energy. And the reason why is because emotion is like feelings in motion. Like it is literally the idea that nothing is ever still, everything is moving. But guess what's also always moving? The tides, the feelings, the ocean, the water. You're 60% water, right? Kanye is such a Gemini, and so is Kendrick. Facts. Kendrick is low-key the good Gemini. Kendrick and Kanye are the same brand of Gemini. But Kanye went chaotic mode and Kendrick went, I want to be on the, they're literally the angel, devil, or vice versa, depending on the situation of that. And that's the dichotomy that I think they have as the Gemini kings they are. But to move forward once more, North Node in Cancer. When it comes to the North Node in Cancer, you're supposed to experience a fullness of emotion and intuition. You've always been very intuitive. You always knew what was going on with your family before anyone else told you, right? Like you know the family secrets already. No one even had to tell you. You just picked up like 2 and 2 together. You were like, so-and-so did such and such. And like, oh, you used to date my uncle back in the day. Ooh, oh my God, this, that, like North Node in Cancer would know all the tea. Like all the tea that they specifically don't want you to know. The North Node in Cancer, y'all come in and y'all already know. You like, yo, they was screwing so-and-so. They was rocking with the milkman. That person over there ain't even my cousin. Like, I'm telling you, like, a North Node in Cancer just be coming in like, none of y'all really my family for real. Who are you people? Like, the North Node in Cancer is like, yo, ain't none of y'all familiar over here. Not on a soul level. And so the reason why I want to frame it this way is because with that South Node in Capricorn, I'm going to let you know, if you have your South Node in Capricorn, that means that you are karmically assigned to the family you were born in. And I hate saying that, but it's true. Like, you were karmically assigned to the family that you were born in. And you were supposed to come in and shake it up. That family dynamic might have got stale. Maybe you come from a family that's racist, or maybe you come from a family that isn't like good to a lot of people, so to speak, just in general, right? The concept of having a North Node in Cancer is that you're like, yo, my destiny here is to build my own family. Like, your whole thing is like, how do I build my own sense of family? How do I build my own home? How do I have like more soulmates in my life, right? That's the kind of concept when you have that North Node in Cancer, because your destiny is to create the comfort that you want to see in the world. Now, once more, let's get to that South Node in Capricorn. South Node in Capricorn, that means that you are on the line of duty all the time, right? Something that I think about immediately, because I love my pop culture references and random things. I've watched a lot of TV and cartoons and random stuff, so I like to bring that in. But there's this, one of my favorite shows growing up was the X-Men, right? So the X-Men, 97, that year when that came out, legendary. Anyway, but then when it comes to the X-Men, there's a certain character on there, and he goes by the name of Cyclops. Cyclops is so sworn to the duty of protecting his family that is something that, like, in his character is like he knows intrinsically there's nobody else who can lead, right? And even when he takes L's emotionally, like when he lost Jean Grey to Wolverine, or like they really made him look like such a punk in all the movies. It kind of hurts because he was actually him in the show. But regardless, the idea when it gets, or in the comics, but regardless, when it gets to that point, he was so about his family or the fellow mutants that he had and stuff that, like, he went the whole mile to make sure that they were always protected. And no matter how many times people would tell him, like, nah, this is wrong, or how many times they would try to, like, maybe like write a little contract to get all of them away, he still stuck through and was like, nah, I'm protecting my family, the X-Men, the people, no matter what happened. He'll blow a literal hole in an entire mountain just to make sure one of his family's safe. And that's the kind of energy that I really sense with, like, that North Node in Cancer, to where it's like, y'all are really just trying to build family, or that concept of family. And it's going to be whatever feels right to you, not the same unit. Maybe you don't do holidays the same way. Maybe you do love holidays, but you're spending the holiday in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a different type of camaraderie that the North Node in Cancer has, but it's all about bridging, creating, and making a intuitive, comfortable environment that people can thrive in on a soul and psychic level. I told y'all I was finna go off. Y'all thought I was playing. Make sure y'all leave a like. I'm over here sweating. I'm not actually sweating. Is this full? No, it's not full. Ah, man. Did I leave my drink in here? It's not in here. Is there anything in here? That's okay. So, all right, let's get into it. The dramatics aside, let's talk about Leo. So, the North Node in Leo. If you have a North Node in Leo, you are the most reluctant leader ever. And I love to poke at y'all about this, because when it comes to Leo, you are intrinsically supposed to be the royal ones. Y'all are supposed to be the entertainers. Y'all are supposed to be the talented ones. And every North Node in Leo knows how to put on a show immediately. Like, they know how to, but they're scared to. It's like, oh my God, like, can someone just like come up and improv this? A North Node in Leo will sit there knowing exactly what to do to break it down. And then they'll just sit there and be like, nah. Someone else should get a turn. Let them go ahead and do their thing. And then they go up and they're supposed to be like, we're representing our school. Yeah, school spirit. And you're like, nah, you guys go up. Meanwhile, you have every cheer for your school memorized. You have every form of, like, leadership ability and possibility. And then you let it go to that one person that you know that you don't like, or that you know is not going to do the same amount of justice. And now you're in a situation where you're like, yo, I should have done this myself. Now, why am I saying it like this, right? Because drink break. Now I'm gonna go straight through. I'm gonna chill afterward. And then speaking of, I do have the new moon in Pisces live stream this weekend on Saturday, in case y'all ain't know, but make sure you check that out afterward as well. Okay. But when it comes to specifically that North Node in Leo, you're supposed to be mighty. Like, you're literally supposed to, like, strong arm scenarios that you know might feel uncomfortable. But on a flip end, the South Node in Aquarius is like, yo, if you won't do it, who will do it? And if someone does do it, are they going to do it as good as you? And that right there is the biggest perplexity of the North Node in Leo for a very long time. And once the North Node in Leo person starts to step into their North Node and step into their destiny, they're okay with having their name first on that playbill. They're okay with being the star of the show. They're okay with being the lead role of the organization that they work in. Now it's just about them building and bridging the comfort of what that's going to look like. Just want to give y'all some context. But the North Node in Leo, literally, if there's something for you to pull up, Saturdays are for parties, so I probably won't make it to that live. You guess what? I'm doing it Saturday during the daytime, So guess what? Literally the Saturday ones that I do, I have it during the daytime when you first getting up. You go ahead, you get yourself a little bowl of cereal. You know what I'm saying? You get yourself some waffles. You get yourself some bowl of fruit for my healthy wellness baddies out here. You know what I'm saying? You get yourself something calm, something light. You know, and if you're on the East Coast, it's only till 5 o'clock. And listen, I'm a Sag. I plan these things out on purpose. I've been thinking about y'all because then while you getting ready to go to the turn up, while you getting ready to go through to the party, when you getting ready to go through to do that thing, it's gonna be me in the background talking ish as you getting ready, kikiing, ha, and you feel me? Anyway, now mind you see how I just said that? That's a North Node in Leo kind of like oomph. There's a little like charisma there. It's like that. No. Like we gonna make it happen. We're gonna get it popping. You feel me? There's a certain element of that when a North Node in Leo does it, everyone eats it up. They're like, oh my God, yes, talk that ish, yes, stand on the table, twerk on everybody's head. Yeah, I'm so serious. Like I'm playing, but I'm also serious. Now on the flip end, the South Node in Aquarius that this Leo has is like, no, everyone else needs a turn. No, everyone else should do that, right? I'm trying to think of somebody who did this, but I'll give you an example. Like if I'm gonna give you an example of someone that I can think off the top of my head, but like ASAP Rocky, he's not a North Node in Leo, but like ASAP Rocky was the leader of the ASAP group, the ASAP mob. And if you didn't know there was an ASAP mob, that's kind of the point because he was the lead runner, right? Or like Tyler when it comes to Odd Future, like he was a lead person. He was a person that put forward. And if they had not stepped into that Leo nature of I'm gonna take this over, or I'm choose to be in the front, all of the rest of their homies wouldn't have come up the way that they did. And so with the South Node in Libra, you kind of want to lean back and be like, no, homies, it's all your turn. But it's like, nah, you got to show them how to move that forward first. Just made it in time to catch the reading before you head out. Caught up to the live. Say thanks in real time. You always right on time, brother. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your night too, bro. I'm happy to be here. I love your vibe. Thanks. All right, let me stop. Also, very North Node in Leo, right? I could play into the fire energy pretty well, but like, what do you expect? Okay. But that's going to be the North Node in Leo. Let me keep moving forward. I want to make sure that I make the most of everyone's time, get everyone the right amount of information in the process, and all that good stuff. Johnny Knoxville is a good example. Good luck. Make sure that you check out the boy Johnny Knoxville as well. So, next, we have the North Node in Virgo, and my homegirl, she ended up, when I asked everybody, I was like, hey, yo, what's your North Node? She put the North Node in Virgo with the face, and I had no choice but to laugh. And the reason why the North Node in Virgo gets like this kind of rap is because the North Node in Virgo is like, your destiny isn't to be a perfectionist, but your destiny is to be of service. And so what happens with North Node in Virgo is that you think perfectionism is service, and that's not the point. That's not the case. As a matter of fact, it's not right. When the North Node in Virgo sits so caught up in perfection, they're never helpful to anybody, including themselves. And I'm saying it this bluntly because y'all need to hear this bluntly, and y'all ain't gonna hear it from anywhere else. So I have to be the one to at least tell y'all straight up, because as the North Node in Virgo, you are literally blessed with the gift of service. You can help literally anyone, from someone off the side of the street, from someone who's like the smartest person in the world. You know how to speak to, cater to, explain to, treat, benefit people all across that board. So what's the problem here? Well, that sounds great. What's going on? So when it comes to this North Node of Virgo, this is also the neurotic need to help everyone out. And that's where the problems start to arise. Because in the South Node in Pisces, the South Node of Pisces is like, yo, in a past life, you were probably, let's say, I would go as far as to say you were someone who was an oracle. I'll go as far as to say in a past life as a Pisces, like I'm literally thinking like oracle. I'm thinking like a shaman. I'm thinking a medicine woman, medicine man, whatever the case is. Like there's usually something that's like very spiritual that you were enveloped into. And now in this lifetime, in this world, you're having to figure out how to make it tangible, right? So your North Node is how do you make the dreams tangible to your reality? How can you help service other people to make their dreams tangible to their reality? And it's not just about other people either. The North Node in Virgo is one of those circumstances to where it's like you need to reach a level of perfection for self. And I need to let you know that level of perfection for self isn't just perfection. So I need y'all to step away from that real quick. And I know that y'all hold that onto that really hard. It's not perfection. It's about putting your best foot forward consistently. That's North Node in Virgo. How do I put my best foot forward in this regard? On a consistent basis. Hey, I might not be good at this thing. Okay, did I put my best foot forward? North Node in Virgo, right? Oh my God, like I couldn't save the day, but did I put my best foot forward? North Node in Virgo. The minute that as a North Node in Virgo, you beat up yourself for not controlling the entire thing, you're having a bad time. So my suggestion to you all, because I love y'all, is that consistently just keep putting your best foot forward, and that's more than enough. And that's how the actual result of that service that you're kind of wanting that feedback on actually gets to you. So I hope I just gave y'all some soft notes, North Node in Virgo. I hope that gave y'all a little bit of context, because like y'all aren't crazy. Yes, people do suck that much. No, when you're like, oh my God, I thought everyone was better than this. They're not. I'm gonna let you know they're not. And the benefit of the doubt that sometimes North Node in Virgo can bring is detrimental. Like, you need to be real about it. Because like you could be like, oh my God, like this personal change is only the 10th time they've yelled at me directly in my face in the last 2 days. But like, they're just going through something. They're going to change. No, cut that out. Because y'all are way too good for that. Just want to give you that concept. Okay, cool. All right. So that's going to be for the North Node in Virgo, right? And we're going to keep it moving forward. We're going to keep it popping. I bet. Let's get it. Let's get into the next one, which is going to be the North Node in Libra, right? North Node in Libra, guess what? Y'all are hoes, respectfully. Let me stop. I'm not joking. That's actually true. That's canonically correct. The reason why this is, right? Having a North Node in Libra, like you are essentially in love and enthralled with art, with creativity. And it's like, when I mention all these North Nodes, it's not easy to tap into your North Node. Like, it's a consistent effort. Because with the North Node in Libra, like your whole idea is like, oh my God, love. I need to be in a relationship. I need to have people like me. I need to have my social status up. People need to know I'm charismatic, right? Meanwhile, the South Node in Aries for y'all, you don't want to do none of that. You don't want to do none of that. You like, yo, if I could stay in the crib in my drawers all day, I will. Like, the South Node in Aries is so unconcerned about other people's opinions on things that like it's hard for them to like fully embrace the fact that it's okay for things to be beautiful. It's okay to make things pretty, right? Y'all watch me deal with this dichotomy all the time, because sometimes I'll put something out and it'll be like the most gorgeously like put together, well thought thing, and then the next day I'll be like a shit post meme, and it's like, whoa, what just happened here? And it's like, this is the dichotomy. Like, this is both of these things, right? When it gets to the concept of having that South Node in Aries, in a past life, you were a warrior. You were someone who was like really like a warrior. You were really about it. No matter what it was, like you rode for that thing. Like, as a matter of fact, you could have been so caught up in your own BS in a past life that you never got the chance to be in a relationship. You never got the chance to open up and be vulnerable with somebody in that regard. So the North Node in Libra is all about bridging in that artistry, right? For the start, I felt facts. I think both are true. I think art hoe and unbothered is the same thing. And like, I mean this in a really good light, right? This is like this. I don't mean that in a negative sense at all. Like, I consider it a positive trait, to be honest, because the concept is like being so enthralled by the beauty around you that you have to make something or you have to do something about it is what the North Node in Libra is about. Right? The North Node in Libra is also about compromise and being a mediator and being a diplomat, even though sometimes you're like, yo, we could all just throw hands, and it's like, no. It's about the peace. right. There's like this part that's always ready. Stop calling you out. I'm calling me out. I'm calling everybody out, bro. This is everybody finna get it. This is a North Node class. But yeah, for real, this is one of those situations to where the North Node in Libra, like, you have to step into beauty. You have to step into art. You have to step into this. And like I said, like, look, North Node of Libra, look at this video in this live stream, which was impossible for me a year ago, and look at my first video. That is the first video, South Node in Aries. I ain't care. I was like, whatever, we out here. Right now, I'm like, is this light still on? Is this still running? Is everyone still talking? Is everything fine? This is the North Node of Libra, making sure that the people are tapped in and everything else in that regard, in that process. So I hope that helps a little bit. But honestly, the North Node of Libra, you're supposed to be in relationships. And honestly, relationship constructs suck for you for a long time at first. I'm going to be so honest. North Node of Libra does not have a good luck in like love earlier on. But like after they really feel and figure out how to bridge together, they're like, I don't care attitude with a little bit of grace and charm. They end up actually finding the relationships that they want. Just to give y'all some context. So hope that helped with that North Node in Libra. Right. Okay. Thank y'all for sticking with me. We out here. I think everybody who is watching this so far has hit the like. That's love. Much love to y'all. Y'all look. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. And for those who are watching afterward too, you know. I bet. So let's keep things moving forward. I just said the North Node in Libra. Let's get into the North Node in Scorpio. North Node in Scorpio. I'm going to let you know right now. I'm going to keep it stacked with you. You need to learn tarot. You need to learn astrology. You need to learn human design. You need to learn I Ching. You need to learn like all these different understandings and backgrounds and philosophies in the occult sciences. I promise you need to learn all that. And it's not for you to have to do. Like, I'm not telling you that you have to go ahead and like read for people. I'm not telling you have to go ahead and like do something else. But there's something with the North Node in Scorpio to where magic is so much in your nature that like to deny it is to deny yourself. And that's why you go a little bit crazy about things. And you know what I'm talking about, North Node of Scorpio. Just like, because the North Node of Scorpio will just get this like, and I don't know how else to explain it. It's like, I got to do something. I got to change. I got to transform. I have to transmute, become a different thing. I have to sex. I have to sex. Like North Node of Scorpio is like so just like in whatever that they're into. And the reason why I'm saying to learn all of these different like modalities, North Node of Scorpio, is because that's how you can start to like see the signs that you see in a way that's more than just like emotional is the wrong word, but I wanted to like you have to see what's beyond what's being shown, because the North Node of Scorpio, you want to investigate into things. Like if you're a North Node of Scorpio, you're watching how someone's mouth moves, and you're like, as you're watching their mouth move, you're like, I wonder how many people they've kissed. I wonder how many people they've slept with. Like the North Node of Scorpio is like just always intrinsically pulling the depths of whatever's going on. North Node in Scorpios, they make great therapists. They make great sex workers and stuff like that too, because the concept is that they're like literally just like pulling on the concept of desire in the process and passion in the process, and like how can we bridge out the trueness of what people are feeling in that regard. Now with that North Node in Scorpio, that means you have a South Node in Taurus. So this is like, the way I like to see this is like, and I hope this relates to y'all, but the North Node in Taurus is like, South Node in Taurus. South Node in Taurus is like, yo, in my past life, I was rich, had everything I wanted. I could have anything I wanted at a whim. But gosh, golly, no one was ever able to pleasure me. Like it's like literally like this, like there's this, I don't know how to explain it without getting raunchy. So I'm gonna have to just get raunchy. There's no other way to explain it. Sorry, YouTube. But like it's one of those situations where it's like the South Node in Taurus may have never like gotten the ecstasy of the La Petite Nord. I forgot how to pronounce it correctly, but like the little deaf in French, you know what I'm talking about. And so with the concept of that, I'm trying to code this really well, but the concept of this is like, it's like, yo, they could have had everything in the world, but they couldn't get pleasure. They couldn't like derive actual pleasure. No satisfaction. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I was looking for the word. No satisfaction. So like in this past life, you might have had no satisfaction. Maybe everything was there. Maybe everything was like set up for you, right? But that's why that North Node of Scorpio, y'all like, I just have to feel that thing. But that's where things can get kind of dangerous with North Node of Scorpios, because y'all get too comfortable with other people's darkness, thinking that it's your own. and sometimes it's not. And so sometimes the North Node of Scorpio will screw up a little bit, and they'll take on someone else's emotional weight for them. And then they're like, why did I just do all this? I got no satisfaction from this. I got no fulfillment from this. I just took on this person's sins. And then what do they have to thank me? They're not even going to smash me about this. Like, I'm telling you, like, North Node Scorpio, that will drive you crazy. So you have to like really like be mindful of the people that you're actually letting yourself have that type of psychological relationship with, have that emotional relationship with. I'm not saying to be super hyper paranoid, but be a little paranoid. Like be a little up with the guard and see where people are going through, because the relationships that you do have where all those cylinders align, you're going to have the deepest connections with, whether that be like platonic, romantic, or whatever. I'm just saying, like, that's the depths of that. Like the whole idea of the North Node of Scorpio is how much deeper can you go into the pool of feeling so you can get your satisfaction. Get my satisfaction. Yeah. Anyway, but that's the idea of that in that process. They need that oversensory connection always. Yes, they do. They need to have like that. Scorpio is so intent with their sensual nature that North Node of Scorpio will continue. Like, your destiny is to be sensual. Your destiny is to like bring in the taboo, is to bring in the erotic, to not be afraid to bring up the dark when it's necessary in order for better transformation. Okay, cool. All right, so we got 4 more signs. Make sure y'all already hit the like button. Y'all are amazing. Everyone already hit the like button. People are already commenting. What more can I ask for? I could say go get a reading, but y'all gonna come through in due time. I ain't really tripping. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So, get my satisfaction. Speaking of satisfaction, let's go. Satisfaction. I swear the future never happened. I just wanna stay here in your arms. Ooh, wanna stay. That's a perfect song. I love that song so much. It's by Sir. It's called Satisfaction. Great music. Look it up. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You see how I'm trying to keep the focus going. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a Sag. I'm really good at my job, but I'm still a Sag. I'm a clown. I gotta snap back in. Speaking of the North Node of Sag, as a North Node, last time I looked up my North Node, I was told to get therapy. I've known Brand for a long time. That was my college, one of my closest friends in college, period. We've had many adventures together. It's nice to see him popping up to the astrology work. I still got to read the he's working on some really cool art. He does architecture. This dude is dope. So make sure you check in for that. He actually made my first logo ever, which I have somewhere and I might bring back for fun. So just to let y'all know. Anyway, come through vocals. Y'all gotta let me get into my spiritual bag so I can get back to doing art for real. Like y'all have no idea. Anyway, North Node and Sag. Let's get into that. So getting into the North Node in Sagittarius. The North Node in Sagittarius is all about the idea of the adventure. And it's not the adventure in just let's get on a plane and take a trip. Now we're going down to Miami. Actually, y'all can't go to Miami no more because of the spring break thing. Anyway, back to my point. The idea when it gets to the North Node and Sag is that it's like about exploration of feeling. It's about exploration of experience, right? So the North Node and Sag is y'all might do higher education in school, or if you didn't get a proper education, you went into the restaurant business being like, oh my God, I'm just going to learn how to do a couple things. And by the time you ended up leaving the restaurant business, you were doing the same work that they were doing on the bear, just stressed out. But then again, you're seeing the whole picture and you're like, wow, I see why this cuisine is so exquisite. And I know why everyone in this place is yelling. And I know why everything is so stressful. And I'm just in the experience and like, I'm doing the thing, right? So when it comes to having a South Node in Gemini, what I often see about this and what I get a sense of is that this is somebody who had like all the facts, but they never lived it out, right? So they had all the experiences, they had all the thoughts, they had all the conversations, but they never lived it out. There's a critique I heard from my friend before about a rapper that I used to like a lot. And, you know, he's still a great artist, don't get me wrong. He's a huge inspiration. That's why I went to college in the first place. I got to give him his credit where it's due. But it's J. Cole. And one thing about J. Cole that I've noticed later on as I got older is that a lot of his music isn't about things that he's done. It's about things that he hasn't done. And when I thought about that, I was like, huh. He's talking about stuff that he's like, oh, I never did this, I never did that, never did that, right? Or like he's like, oh, I have all these ideas and all this other things. But like, and I'm using him as an example, and I'm not to trash him or nothing. But for example, he always would speak of freedom. He'd always speak of this, and he'd always like explain like, yo, I'm here for the black cause. I'm here for this. But by the time anything happened when it came to those riots that were going on a few years back, he had nothing to say for it. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I just think a lot. Oh, I just think about this. And that gives me this reminder somewhat of this like South Node and Gemini things that it's like, yo, you always said that you were going to blah, blah, blah. Right. Now, I love J. Cole too, but this is just like a critique and a thought that I had. And like, that's where it's like, you don't want to spend your life as a North Node of Sag thinking about what you could have done or hearing what everyone else has always done. You need to put your feet in yourself. You need to take that jump in for yourself. You need to make that happen for yourself. You need to see the things with your own eyes. You need to taste the food with your own mouth. Like this, like that's the feeling when it comes to that North Node of Sagittarius thing, is that life is supposed to be a consistent adventure, and you're supposed to allow yourself to be on the adventure, right? He's a true hustler. Listen, once more, I have no beef and no gripe. This is one of those situations where it's like, in that true hustle, one thing that he's done is that he was able, in that Gemini skill, to build a group of people around him. So he has Dreamville, right? But like where he could have potentially just been that star on his own, he needed to bring in everybody else in that regard. He doesn't have that same dichotomy, but I wanted to just kind of point that out to where with that North Node in Sag, you need to be the main star. You need to be the person pushing that forward. You don't need the Dreamville to like keep up your name for you. I hope that that's a good reference and y'all are kind of getting what I'm getting at, even if you don't know the specifics. I just want to kind of give that as a reference in that process. So that's having a North Node of Sag. It's all about the adventure. It's all about what you're seeking forward and getting that together. Okay. All right. I'm going to take like 2 breaths because I've been talking for how long straight? An hour and 20 minutes straight. Gosh darn. Okay. It's for the people. I love y'all. We out here with the YouTube partnership. I'm still figuring out if I'm doing a YouTube membership thing through. I'm figuring out and configuring that. I finally got my aesthetic that I want for my photos and videos. So it's going to be some cool stuff coming through. But anyway, let's get back to the hardest North Node to ever have ever, which is the North Node in Capricorn. I hate to break it to y'all. North Node in Capricorn, y'all have signed up to be the greatest. But like, you know how like LeBron's the greatest? Like LeBron's the best basketball player of all time. And everyone has room to debate it. They're like, nah, it's Jordan. Oh, it's Kobe, RIP. Oh, it's Hakeem, Elijah, whatever. Like everyone else has this other person that they're like, actually, I think that they're better than LeBron James. It doesn't matter how many points LeBron James puts up. It don't matter how great he is, how many years he lasts, how healthy he stays, how much of blah, blah, blah. Everyone still got a little something to say. Even people that love LeBron, they just try to bring up this thing to poke at his greatness, to kind of be like, oh, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, there's this like demeaning type of feel that some people try to give to it, because as a North Node in Capricorn, not everyone's going to believe in your dream. And I hate to say that to y'all because I wish it wasn't that way, but it's like not everyone's supposed to believe in your dream, but that's supposed to be the key force and motivator why you make it happen even harder. So the North Node in Cap, your destiny is really built on what you're expected to build, what you're expected to push forward into the world. Are you willing to take that business to the next level? Are you willing to stomp on a couple of people's toes in order to do it? And it's not like you're doing it out of malice though. I need to point this out. You have your South Node in Cancer. You really care. You really care. But as a South Node in Cancer, maybe you had a great family life, but y'all were piss poor the whole time. Maybe you had a good nurturing, but you weren't able to step up and do anything on your 10 toes yourself. Maybe that you had so many feelings, but you never were able to be in a position to speak the truth on those things because everyone else just made fun of you and you shut down. The North Node in Capricorn is like, I'm coming back for all this, right? Like the North Node in Capricorn said, I'm coming back for all this. Give me all the smoke. Give me all the hardship. Because once a North Node in Capricorn does make it, they're like, their figures just go up. It'll go from like 100,000 to 100 million in like 2 years. And everyone's like, how did this happen? And the North Node in Capricorn said, I believed in this vision that much. I put that much power and idea and fervor into this. Now, mind you, that South Node in Cancer, one more time, to get back to that South Node in Cancer. That South Node in Cancer, that wound is behind that like family, or sometimes even in like bringing in like nurturing as a South Node in Capricorn. You might be like, yo, I hope I'm not being too hard on X, Y, and Z. And part of it is that you have to like still be soft enough, but there's certain things you gotta kind of G-check people on, or even G-check the people that you're nurturing on, right? Because if you with, let's say your homegirl, dude cheated on her 15 times, did all this types of stuff, like there's you have the receipts, y'all probably thought about somebody, sorry to bring them up. But the idea behind this is that that person may need that tough love. So as a North Node in Capricorn, it's sometimes that love is you being tough. It is you being like, yo, you can't do this. It is you being like, yo, you can't even step in this house if you acting like this. And a lot of times that sounds harsh. It's like, oh my God, like, how could you say that to that person? But meanwhile, you being tough on that person one time helps them get their whole entire life together. Helps them turn around. Gives them the understanding they screwed up, and then they come back to apologize. So as a North Node in Cap, it's a difficult teeter-totter because like, y'all are supposed to be big body. Y'all are supposed to be that oomph, that extra, that power. But you also need to rely on your intuition to know when it's best to be on that timing, and when you have to understand that the reason why you are so tough on those aspects is because you want to make sure your family's fed and your people are good and they don't got to worry about nothing else. That's why you work so hard at all the things that you do. Just want to give you that perspective. North Node and Capricorn, my heart goes out to y'all. I love y'all. Because I just know that this is one of the tougher North Nodes to go through for real. Because like you're building a legacy by yourself, but you got it. Okay, cool. Y'all. Let me stop. All right, we got two more. Okay. I bet. I'm done. I just had to do my almost victory dance slap. All right, cool. Let's get to it. Boost morale. Now, North Node in Aquarius, I done seen 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 of y'all pop up being like, I'm a North Node in Aquarius. Well, listen here, you weirdos. No playing. I love y'all. But having a North Node in Aquarius, your destiny is surrounding becoming the star that you were meant to be. But this is a star that's able to facilitate other stars in that process, right? So when it comes to like that North Node in Aquarius, it's like, how am I frame this? North Node in Aquarius is the odd one out. They are the outsider, right? But in the skill of being an outsider, you can really see why the inside moves the way it does, right? So a North Node in Aquarius is part of that public, is part of the kingdom. But they're not trying to overrun it. They're not trying to overdo it. They're not trying to put too much of themselves into it because they have their South Node in Leo, right? And having a South Node in Leo, I always think immediately, I'm like, you were either a prima donna, someone who like literally like a full-on diva, you had this type of like flair to you, or you were actual royalty, some type of like, honestly, like a snotty brat type deal. And I'm not saying that to be like condescending, but the idea when it comes to that like past life stuff is that it's like there's a holier than thou experience that you come into this world with, and you know that. And it's not a bad thing until it becomes a bad thing. And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because like you might have been the kid in the class that had the most confidence. Like when everyone was like, oh my God, what do you want to be when you grew up? You're like, I'm gonna be an astronaut. And they're like, no, be realistic. You're like, I'm going to be an astronaut. They're like, no, be realistic. You're like, I'm going to be a fucking astronaut. I'm going to be an astronaut. Don't play me. Don't blame me. But meanwhile, everyone's like, oh my God, this kid, they're being so unruly. Pull them back, stop them, push them away from everybody else. Which ironically alienates you even more. Where the North Node in Aquarius is at their best, communicating with the people, bridging in new ideas with the people, finding people from different walks of life and making a community themselves. North Node in, what's it called? The North Node in Aquarius in general, like the idea of this is like being able to connect minds that are alike. And I don't think there's a better North Node in Aquarius to be able to do that. Like they're able to really just take other people who have like great minds think alike. They're able to find those people, bring them together and gel them together with like that heart energy too. It's ridiculous. So the North Node in Aquarius, actually, this is my last point for this. I briefly watched One Piece again for a little bit. Need to put that back on the background. But it's about this dude, it's a pirate named Luffy. And the way that Luffy picks up his crew is the most North Node in Aquarius way. Basically, one of his homies was like, yo, all you need is like 7 people to ride the siege and you're going to be cool. He was like, I bet, I'm going to do that. And then he just like recruits those people and they just keep going and they're like continuously going forward behind this. And because there's over 1,000 episodes of One Piece, in case y'all didn't know, a couple friends of mine, we have the joke where it's like, the One Piece isn't even the treasure. It's just the friends you made along the way. And that's very North Node in Aquarius, is that it is the friends you make along the way. It is the people you make along the way. It was good. So when it comes to like that, like camaraderie of that North Node in Aquarius, it's like, yeah, you are being Luffy. You're building your crew. And y'all are just going out to set out on the same creative journey, on the same spiritual journey, on the same mental journey, if you will, to bring in higher mentionings, bring in higher knowledge, or to better yet, just experience the eccentricity, electricity, better, of existence. So hope that helps with the North Node in Aquarius. Okay. Yes, I did mention One Piece. I am a nerd, if anyone did not notice. My face is not being focused on right now. That's disrespectful. They messed it up. I was talking too powerful. I left my camera on. The wrong thing. 1 second. Face. Focus on my face. I'm beautiful. Okay, we're back. So, anyway, let's get to the next part, right? So. Someone needs to do a compilation of that for me. Anyway, so. All right, I'm done. Now, North Node and Pisces, right? North Node and Pisces, y'all have a very special destiny, as your destiny is to almost transcend the human experience. To be so honest with you, as a North Node and Pisces, like you're supposed to like live through, bridge through, and bring through what most people consider Christ consciousness. And when I mean Christ consciousness, I'm not saying this on the religion ilk. I'm saying this in the terms of like, this is about the genuine understanding and feeling that like there's more to this world than what's being seen. And in your past life as a North Node in Pisces, that means that you were a South Node in Virgo, right? And having a South Node in Virgo would mean that you were so tied into the specifics. You were so tied into the details in your past life that you never got to experience like love. You never got to experience like hope. You never got to experience just like art, right? You ever like be with somebody and they go into like an art museum, or you go to somewhere that's supposed to be like really cool and aesthetic, and you're like, oh my God, what do you think about this painting? And they're like, yeah, it looks like a fire truck. And you're like, where is this? No, this isn't a fire truck. This is an amalgamation of all the feelings of every fiery piece of existence that have ever existed. You just don't get it. All right, cool. So with that being said, right, the North Node of Pisces is that like y'all are so tapped into the outer world. You guys are so tapped into higher regards. You guys are so tapped into that. You are not going blind. I just literally moved out of frame and I forgot to change the setting because whatever. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Cool. Now, move forward with the actually, as a matter of fact, the irony of me even disappearing before talking about the North Node of Pisces, this is literally showing the intangibility of the energy that Pisces be feeling, of the energy that Pisces like starts to tap into with that North Node being there. So one of the most important parts to this, having a North Node in Pisces, that you need to pray, like you need to meditate, like you need to just sit in the darkness and not do nothing for a little bit. You might need to sit and listen to only like waterfall sounds for an entire day. You are a conduit a lot of the times for some things that the universe just has to do. So you might be like, I'm gonna go to Hallmark today. And you go to Hallmark and you find a perfect card for somebody and you're like, I'm gonna write them a card. And you write them a card. And then by the time you write them a card, you get the information back and they're like, oh my God, that person was sick. And you wrote them a card. And your card made them feel so much better before they went into surgery. And after their surgery, they actually ended up coming clean. And literally they're fine. They're gonna live. They have a longer life expectancy. They're gonna live 25 years. Thank you for the thoughts and prayers that you put into this, because this ended up helping. And you're there like, that's North Node and Pisces. And so like I have to explain that, like, when you feeling that whim, like it's not just you sometimes. You feel me? When you're feeling that, like when a North Node of Pisces, like, but this doesn't make sense, you might be low-key leaning into the parts of other that if you ask somebody who's a average Joe, hey Joe, what's the word with this? Joe gonna look at you and be like, and then like that's not what you need. Maybe you do need some more spiritual people in your world so you could be like, oh my God, like this thing just happened with this thing and I saw these numbers and like, oh my God, there's this thing. And then they're like, oh my God, this number, I saw synchronicities today too. Angel numbers. Nah, I'm saying this on some like he, but for real, like that's just the type of dichotomy that comes in, because having a North Node on Pisces, your destiny is to bring unconditional love into the world. Your dream is supposed to inspire other people to follow their destiny. Your ability to tap into the world of healing is what's going to change the world indefinitely. And you can't do it from, like, you're not going to save the world by saving every person. You're going to save the world through your love, like through loving the world and through loving people legitimately. And even, I'm going to be honest with you, even people that don't deserve it. Definitely know how to build your boundaries. Use that South Node of Virgo to be like, skr, 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 if it ain't it. But if it is one of those situations to where it's worth fighting for, that unconditional love will change their entire universe and yours in that process. Okay, so thank you for letting your boy cook. But that is each and every North Node through the zodiac sign. If you came in later, this is still going to be up for you to watch later on. I will be having timestamps. They're going to take a minute to come through because they're based off the subtitles, and this is like a 2-hour video. So by the time this all uploaded, I will definitely double back and post it on my Instagram being like, captions available, guys. Make sure that you guys can see the captions and the timelines, or just watch the whole thing through and help your boy out in his YouTube journey. But yeah, no, it's been really beautiful to tap in with you all. Thank y'all for staying through, especially those who stayed like afterward, to just like watch this or check this out. And I know everyone has a busy schedule. I'm thinking about doing more or most of my classes on Thursdays and Sundays moving forward. I'm really trying to gear together a better schedule and understanding of when I'm gonna show up or pop up moving forward. But I appreciate y'all who I have reached out to where I was like, yo, here's this thing pulling through. And I don't know if I'm gonna do a bunch of more master classes for free. I ideally would want to, but it really just depends on the frequency of readings that I get in that process, or people who end up getting the ebook. So whatever you can do to pull through, definitely do. If easily is just like sharing up like one of my posts or anything else like that, all of that is like real currency to me, and I appreciate and I feel the love that y'all be showing me when it comes to this. I'm not good at taking compliments and like stuff in for real, and that's something that I've been working on throughout my astrology journey, is understanding that I am actually being helpful. So to have y'all like pop up and remind me and like be a consistent rock in that as I just go about this has been just a tremendous thing. So I appreciate y'all for all the love for real. But yeah, this was fire. This was everything. So are y'all. Thank you for the meal. Itadakimasu. Anyway, but the idea, but for real, like the idea is like, I just love to do what I do, and thank y'all for being here for this, and thank you for sharing this love of the stars with me. Under the stars we wander. And I am terrible at ending off live streams and masterclasses, but stay blessed, stay beautiful. If anyone has any further questions, feel free to reach out to me, ask a question if you need more clarification. I wrote about all the houses and stuff in the North Notebook and everything else like that, but yeah. I appreciate y'all too. Make sure y'all stay up, stay beautiful, and I'll be checking y'all out later. Have a good one. Be blessed. I forgot to press the button.